Lance Stroll's home Canada Grand Prix qualifying session was again not his best. The conditions were not great, but that's where the real drivers emerge and differentiate themselves. Alonso, on the other hand, is having an amazing season so far. Once again, there is doubt whether Stroll belongs in F1, but unfortunately, there are more problems in Canada. To benefit the Canadian Red Cross, the Aston Martin driver will auction off his special edition race kits from his home race. Lance Stroll has unveiled a limited edition crash helmet, boots and gloves for the Canadian Grand Prix, which will be auctioned off after the race to benefit the Canadian Red Cross. Since the beginning of June, wildfires have ravaged Quebec and Canada, affecting approximately 12 million acres and over 100,000 people. The fire's impact has spread across 11 provinces and territories, making this the worst wildfire season in Canadian history, with the skies over New York in the United States turning into an apocalyptic horizon as a result. Stroll took to social media ahead of his home race to reveal his new white and red kit and to confirm an auction would follow. We've all seen how bad the wildfires have been across Quebec and Canada since the beginning of June. I've auctioned off my special edition helmet and race kit from the 2023 Canadian Grand Prix to raise funds and awareness for those affected by the fires. I'd like to thank everyone who is helping, including the emergency services, the armed forces, and all of the volunteers. Lance Stroll finished 6th in Spain, defeating Fernando Alonso for the first time and predicted an even better result. Lance Stroll has admitted that after his first lap Formula 1 overtake on Lewis Hamilton, he thought Aston Martin could finish on the podium at the Spanish Grand Prix. Starting 5th on the grid, Stroll moved to 4th after Lando Norris suffered damage on the first lap and dived past Hamilton at turn 5 to finish 3rd. The Canadian led for 8 laps before Hamilton scythed past him at turn 1. Stroll eventually finished 6th after George Russell and Sergio Perez passed him. According to a respected Formula 1 reporter, Lance Stroll's poor work rate is a key factor preventing the Aston Martin driver from making the most of his natural talent. Since his debut on the grid with Williams as an 18-year-old in 2017, Stroll has been regularly dismissed as a paid driver, but the Canadian has shown flashes of real potential by delivering a number of eye-catching results to dispel such a view arguably. Stroll became the youngest ever driver to start from the front row of the grid at Monza that year, after finishing on the podium in only his 8th F1 appearance in Baku in 2017. After joining Racing Point in 2019, Stroll won his first F1 pole position in a rain-affected qualifying session at the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix, and he finished on the podium twice that season in Italy and Sakhir. Stroll received praise after recovering from a pre-season bike accident to finish 6th in the 2023 season opener in Bahrain, but he has been outperformed in recent weeks by his new teammate, two-time world champion Fernando Alonso. Stroll finished nearly 30 seconds behind Alonso at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix last weekend, having qualified 4 attempts behind him. According to F1 journalist Andrew Benson, speaking on the BBC's Checkered Flag podcast, most drivers would need help to match a competitor of Alonso's stature in identical machinery. However, when Stroll's consistency was questioned, he suggested that the 24-year-old needs to give himself the best chance of reaching his full potential. He's got talent, Lance Stroll, there's no doubt about it, he said. I believe he qualified 4th and ended up on the front row in the wet at Monza in 2017. He put the Racing Point on pole in that famous race in Turkey in 2020 and led that race for a long time. However, he is inconsistent, and those who know him say he does not work hard enough. I believe he is discovering what nearly every teammate Fernando Alonso has ever had. The man is unique and sets a standard that very few people can even approach. With Stroll's father, Lawrence, owning the Aston Martin team, many observers in 2023 have noted Alonso's willingness to assist his new teammate. During the Baku race, Alonso was heard over team radio offering advice to Stroll, suggesting a change to the car's brake balance. Later, the 41-year-old explained that he is preparing Stroll to lead the team in the long run. I know I'll be in the sport for a few more years, but not many, and he'll be leading the team for the next 10 or 15 years, he said. I hope I can help Lance in the next few years. Alonso currently leads the drivers' standings with 60 points, 33 more than Stroll. This season, Canadian Lance Stroll has been overtaken by Aston Martin teammates Fernando Alonso, but the supportive Spaniard said on Thursday that it was simply bad luck. Alonso, 41, has been on the podium 5 times in 6 races, with 4 third-place finishes and a 2nd in Monaco last weekend. Stroll, the team's billionaire owner Lawrence's 24-year-old son, failed to score in the last 2 races and retired in Saudi Arabia in March due to wrist injuries. He has 27 points to Alonso's 93, and while Aston Martin is 2nd in the constructors' standings, they are only 1 point ahead of Mercedes and require both drivers to score points. I think Lance has been very unlucky in the last 2 events, Alonso said ahead of his home race at the Circuit de Catalunya. He has given me the right feedback, information and strategy on everything. I really hope he has a little more luck because I don't think he's missing any pace. It's just an opportunistic moments that he didn't have. Stroll, who Seat is regarded as the safest in the sport due to the family connection, began the season on the back foot after breaking both wrists in a cycling accident in Spain. He missed 3 days of pre-season testing and was seen struggling to get out of the car following Friday's practice in Bahrain. Stroll retired in Saudi Arabia due to an engine problem, then finished 4th in Australia and 7th in Azerbaijan. He finished 12th in Miami after failing to make it through the first qualifying phase due to a tyre miscalculation. While Alonso started on the front row in Monaco, Stroll qualified 14th after colliding with debris in the 2nd phase and retiring with crash damage. It's luck. Things happen in racing, and we had some tough weekends, including our retirement in Jeddah, Stroll said separately to reporters. I think it's just the way it is. There are good weekends and bad weekends, and like every other weekend, I'm just trying to make the most of this one. Lance Stroll believes he is finally driving a car capable of competing with the best on home soil. The 24-year-old Montrealer will compete in this Sunday's Canadian Grand Prix for an Aston Martin team that is 3rd in the Formula 1 constructors' standings and widely regarded as the 2nd best team behind Red Bull this season. Yeah, for sure, Stroll said when asked if he was driving a good car for the first time in Montreal. There are definitely more opportunities this year than in previous years. Despite this and the high quality of his vehicle, Stroll has yet to demonstrate that he can drive it to its full potential. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso, another teammate, has. The 41-year-old veteran and 2-time world champion is on a roll in his first season with Aston Martin, outperforming Stroll by 5 points to 0 and 99 points to 35. Alonso is 3rd in the drivers' standings, behind Red Bull's Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez, and his success is putting additional pressure on Stroll to deliver results. Aston Martin team principal Mike Crack believes they will appear. First and foremost, he needs a little more luck, which he didn't have, Crack said, noting a team error in Miami and some vehicle damage in Monaco. We have a car capable of doing it, and he will do it. So, if the car is there, he will be there. Crack also believes Stroll has been underappreciated for returning from injury so quickly this season and making the best of a bad situation. Stroll did not participate in pre-season testing after crashing his bike while training in Spain and breaking both of his wrists. However, he recovered in time to compete in the season opener in Bahrain. I believe it revealed a side of Lance that was previously unknown. He's a fantastic fighter, Crack said. It would have been easy to say, I'll wait 3 races, get everything back in place, and I'll come back. The fact that he tried so hard to get back into the car, despite all the pain, and I can assure you there was a lot of pain, shows what kind of fighter he is. I'm not sure if we know what kind of performance that was. I think he deserves a lot of credit for bringing home the points in these early races, despite his injuries. Alonso agreed, adding that Stroll's return commitment demonstrates his love for the game. According to the Spaniard, the next step in his teammate's career is to improve his consistency. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to get instant notifications for latest updates of Formula 1.